Hello everyone. This video is on love for all beings and how love protects us, how love dissolves our karma, and the power of love and compassion. Often when we want to be strong, we think we have to be angry or push or present ourselves in a very strong, intense way. But is that the case? Think about it, because if we push and we're angry and tense, we can sometimes, yes, intimidate some other people and appear to get what we want, but there are ripple effects. There are ripple effects from anger. There are ripple effects from pushing that then reverberate back to us and create a problem for us, because every action has a reaction. So if I go and punch somebody, even though that may make me feel strong, they will either punch me back and that will harm me. They might plan to punch me back later and then I'll just get punched when I least expect it. Or they don't punch me at all and I think I've got away with it, but it's created a ripple of resentment and anger in the system that does reverberate back and come back. So we don't get away with anything. And so when we're triggered and we want to show up as being strong and we spontaneously act out, we punch somebody. And when I say punch somebody, we can punch people with bad words. It doesn't always have to be a physical punch. Some of the most damaging things we can do to other people is through manipulative things or through saying certain things. Words have power, they have a vibration, and the intention behind the word can be very, very harmful. So if we're doing that because we feel unsafe and we want to protect ourselves and we need to push, shout, be angry, say something back to somebody because they've said something to us, even though we might get the illusion of strength, this is actually weakness and stupidity, because it makes us unsafe in the end. And the idea of compassion, the idea of love and kindness might seem weak to people who are triggered. They might think, well, that's not going to solve the problem. I need to punch back. I need to get strong. I need to fight. But gentle, loving kindness and compassion is so powerful, because when you direct love and compassion towards any object or any group of people, they pick it up, they feel it if it's genuine, and their nervous system relaxes. It relaxes at a deep level, and they're less likely to want to harm you, to punch you back. And not only that, we are the other person at a deep level from a oneness perspective. So if we are punching somebody else, we're punching ourselves in the face. It's like a meme. It's the most stupid thing to do. If you harm somebody else, you're harming yourself. There is no difference from a unified state of consciousness. And as we start to meditate, as we start to wake up, our empathy starts to connect us to everybody else, and we understand it doesn't feel good when I harm other people because I'm actually harming myself. And if there's any distortion in that empathy circuit, that's due to childhood wounding, that's due to trauma, that's due to stress that's not yet figured out how to exit. And we can have compassion for people who are stuck like that, because they're just creating self-harm loops, and they're not going to solve the problem, and they're going to spiral down and down and not get out of the misery and just want to harm people. Because if you're hurt, you want to hurt other people, almost like as a flight response, as a fight response, but it only ends up hurting you. And so it's endless loop down into a state where you can destabilize yourself and other people around you. And in some cases, whole countries. In some cases, wars can break out. And then it can take time for the insights to arise and the system to reset. But as we're waking up, we want to see clearly. And when we transcend, when we move beyond the body, the heart space opens. We realize we are connected to everything on a subtle level, and love for all beings arises spontaneously. And love for all beings is the correct, truthful way of seeing the world. If we have love for all beings, and some people take ecstasy and have that temporary love for all beings, it's chemically induced, but you can experience intense love for all beings without taking drugs and ecstasy. You can experience it because it's your natural state of being if you enter stillness, if you heal from your past, if you're open, if you transcend, if you meditate. You can experience it naturally. We're wired to return back to who we truly are. And if we're returning back to who we truly are, that is love for all beings. We do love all beings, even if we temporarily have issues and get angry. Once that stress exits, we will return back to love for all beings, because that's the correct way that the world is. Beings do have love for each other when the stress is removed. And if beings do not have love for each other, it's because there's a stress that needs to exit. And I have compassion because some people have had very stressful lives, and they may not have tools to remove that stress, and they may be spiraling down and making things worse and worse for themselves, and then thinking, I'm going to play hard in order to feel safe, and just end up down, 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 and not feeling any love for all beings. And it can come in waves, sometimes the physiology relaxes and it naturally arises. Some days it's easier to love other people than other days. We don't have to beat ourselves up if we're not feeling compassionate and kind. Sometimes the way to feeling compassionate and kind is actually through allowing the emotions, any negative emotions, to be as they are. Allow them to be as big as they want to be. Allow them to pass in their own time rather than repressing them. And then we'll just naturally return back to compassion. But if we're judging ourselves or thinking there's something wrong because some of this stress is exiting, then we can just make it a longer process. And animals are great because they love other beings. They don't have issue with other beings. They have little tiffs, but they very easily return back. And if you are respectful of them, there is a really divine connection that develops, and you can look into their eyes, and there's this exchange, this uninterrupted exchange of love and kindness and compassion. And she's given me a love bite, And isn't that cute? That's the way she shows love to me, because we've done a lot of eye gazing over 2 years. She's 2 now. And in our eye gazing, and I smile, and she kind of smiles back with her eyes. This is a cat's smile back. She does it way better than I just did. But she has her way of smiling, and I have my way of smiling. And there's this non physical energy that just passes. And we recognize ourselves in each other. It doesn't matter that she's a cat and I'm appearing as a human. And then the love for the other being is there. And it's very simple. And people do this with animals so much easier than they do with people, because people are sometimes manipulative because they're always trying to, you know, get one up on other people or feel that other people are taking too much from the system. And there's this competition and mistrust sometimes in human, because they think, oh, they're judging me. Who are you to judge me? And people wear masks, and it's a whole mess with the humans a lot of the time, where it's not like that way with animals. So we can have this uninterrupted, compassionate flow, looking into the eyes of one another. And so sometimes, when I used to walk my dog, people were so loving and compassionate to my dog. But then when they communicated with me, the mask went on, and I'd see, oh, there's a mask. Now there's not a mask when they're speaking to the dog. Now there's a mask when they're speaking to me. And so I really pray that we move into a new world where we can feel as safe as we do with animals, with each other, where we can stop being at war with each other, where we can love each other. And when we're in a vibration of love, it's the biggest protection. It protects us in so many ways. It protects our health. We're able to focus more. We're not too exhausted plotting how we're going to get something from the other people or from our enemies that we won't ever make us happy anyway. And also, when we are in a state of love, life just becomes simple, because we're not trying to outdo anybody else. So we don't need to exhaust ourselves in trying to get a load of things that we don't really need, just to show other people that we're worth knowing, or that we have the right to exist. I mean, this is the insanity of being a human. It's like, well, I have to wear a mask and pretend I'm something I'm not, or if I'm going to actually be somebody that other humans want to know, then I better earn a lot of money. I better have the perfect body. I better get married and have a partner that's, tall, handsome, earns a lot of money, or a wife that's hot, skinny, and looks like a supermodel. And then people will want to know me. And oh my God, I have to drive a certain car, and I have to be a certain way, and I have to do all of these things in order to have the right to exist. And it's exhausting. And this is not maybe in all cultures, but certainly in a lot of cultures, there is in the human system a message that you don't have the right to exist unless you're wealthy, unless you look a certain way, unless you have a certain intelligence. There's all of these messages, and it's also in the media. It's also when we watch ads. It's all telling us you're not good enough, you need to change. And it's exhausting. And of course, we want to look at animals and communicate with animals who just see us who we are, and we don't have to wear a mask. And I'm just really praying at the minute that we can move beyond that. It's primitive. And if you have a faster car, it's not going to make you happier. If you have more money in the bank, might make things certainly a little bit more comfortable for you, but it's not going to make you happier. If you have a really hot wife, she might be a right nightmare and not make you happier. If you have a tall, dark, handsome boyfriend, it's not going to make you happy. If you think, oh, everybody's looking at me, that's not really happy. These things are sold to us saying, if you do this, you're going to be happy. And it's all a lie. It's all a con. You're not going to be happier. The only way you're going to be happier is if you have love for all beings. And sometimes when we're doing all the other stuff, all it does is separate us from other beings. It does the opposite. It does the opposite. If we're driving a fast car and we're thinking, oh, I'm better than everybody else, we have this man or woman on our arm and we think, yeah, look at me. It's creating a separation. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have a beautiful partner or you shouldn't drive a fast car. You can do that, that's fine. But if you're doing it to be better than other people, you're creating a separation, and that separation is going to lead to loneliness, and it's not going to lead to happiness. The only thing that leads to happiness is this connection with other people. You have to connect. And it's so funny because we are all the same underneath it all. Underneath how much money we have, underneath who we're dating, underneath how successful we are, we're all the same. We all get given a certain amount of stress to dissolve. We all have a personality we have to contend with. We're all going to drop our bodies. We all have masks that we put on. But if we just delete it all, we are pure love. And I'm not saying that we even can delete it all. There's so much ignorance and programming in the system. But we can at least attempt to delete as much as we can and reconnect with each other, because that's heaven on earth. That's how you create heaven on earth. You have to drop the things that separate you from other people. The color of their skin, how much they have in their bank account, anything that disconnects you from somebody else, look at it. So I want you to take a moment here and think, well, what's disconnecting me? What's my favorite things that I use to boost my ego that disconnects me from people? That's your suffering. And we can have compassion for one another because it's there. Because at one point or another we were told we were not good enough. And we can be told we're not good enough from our parents in multiple ways, from our school, from our society. But I'm here to tell you, you are enough. Exactly as you are now. I don't care how much money you have in your bank account. I don't care who you're dating. I don't care what your body looks like. I don't care what you've done in the past, good or bad. I want you to know now, you are enough. You have a right to exist. And you are like everybody else. Fundamentally, we're all the same. Even though we sometimes don't want to feel like we are, we are. I'm the same as Toby here. She appears as a cat, and she has different ways of showing love, like little love bites that I don't love bite people and claw people to show that I love them, but we're the same. And when you strip everything away, all that's left is love. And so when we get into those meditations where we move beyond the body and all this stuff, all that's left is this compassionate space. And I hope that we can connect to that in our lives so that we can see clearly and not feel lonely and make decisions that will make us happy and decisions that will not separate us from each other. So from this little gremlin and myself, I pray that we move into a new era of interconnection, humility, and of bliss. Sat Chitananda, eternal bliss consciousness.